has a craft that you love doing, if let's take macrame, if getting up in the morning and making projects with macrame, making wall hangings is like the thing that brings you joy in life, you need to really sit with yourself and think, do I want to be able to live my life being able to make this thing that brings me a lot of joy, or do I want to run a business? And they very often do not overlap. Alex and John don't make pottery anymore. Every once in a while, they'll get their hands in some clay, but they are, behind a computer or attached to their cell phones or in one-on-one meetings with senior leadership 24 hours a day. And it's a big change. So I think back to that vision process of when you look at yourself, when you close your eyes and think about yourself in 10 years, do you still see yourself making the thing that you've devoted your life to making, or do you see yourself running a business of a certain scale? A lot of people realize that running a business sounds really fun and they want to give that a shot, and maybe they are fine with outsourcing the making of something, but you got to take a real hard, sober look at what you want to be doing. And if you do, there are totally ways that you can continue being like a one-person show and making something and also selling it. But it's a lot of pressure on one person to think that they can not only make the product, but also be able to market it and run their P&Ls and, pay all the bills and deal with vendors and figure out their supply chain and when there's a global pandemic, and it's a lot. So this is like what are my skills? What do I want to foster? What do I not want to do ever and have to outsource? That's all got to get down on paper before you make any moves. There are a handful of people who had true professional career experience before they came onto East Fork, but for the most part, people who've been really successful here came on with little to no experience in the work that they're actually doing now. They were hired because of their kind of characteristics like tenacity and willingness to learn and loyalty and communication style. And those are the people who've really just taken off. So for instance, our director of operations, I hired her because we needed a retail store manager desperately. We had no one to run the shop. I didn't have time. I called up a friend who I worked in restaurants with because I knew she was a hustler and she was a competent human who could figure stuff out. I was like, Zoe, do you want a job? And it has nothing to do with anything you've ever done before, but I need you to do it. And she was like, I'm there. 2 weeks later, she had already gotten a retail math book and learned it top to bottom. The work that she does now is she could go to any company at twice our size and be the COO. She's just a genius. And we just gave her the chance and we said, here's the job. Can you do it? And so that's been a really, really fun to see people learn new things through that process. So in the last year, we've really started to think about what it means to support other people on our team to gain professional development and to figure out what it is they want to do and accomplish in their own careers, and to really sit with them and do their own personal visioning. Do you want to be at East Fork for 50 years? Do you want to have a career here? Is there a job that you're not doing right now that you want to work toward and grow into? How can we support that journey if that's something that you're interested in? Or if you're just someone who wants to come and make $15 an hour for a couple months, before you go and do something else, that's cool too. Let's be really transparent about that. Let's make sure that we know what your goals are, and also know that you can change your mind. And if you decide that you really love it here and want to stay on, then we're here to support that too. Empowering other employees comes from just honing communication skills and getting really good at giving and receiving feedback, and making sure you're taking time to check in with people and seeing do they have the tools that they need to do their job, and if they don't, how can the company support them in getting those tools and kind of leveling up. Once we really committed to that work, it was a huge change in people's happiness in their jobs.